The laughter didn't stop. It swelled, heavy and hot in the air, echoing against the white walls of the reception hall. My daughter's hand tightened in mine, small fingers, damp, shaking. On the stage, the best man, my brother's best friend, my wife's former colleague, was bent over the mic, grinning like a predator who had just found his prey cornered. "Anyone want to date him?" The crowd roared. Then my father's voice cut through. "Let's start the bidding at $50." Like I was meat, like she was part of the deal. A sound escaped my daughter, half sob, half gasp. My hand went to my pocket, not for a weapon, for the envelope. But before I could stand, movement caught my eye. Someone else was rising from their chair. Slow, deliberate, eyes fixed not on me, but on them. Months before this, I'd known something was wrong. It wasn't the divorce, that was expected. It was why the divorce had happened that gnawed at me in the nights I couldn't sleep. She hadn't just left, she'd fled into someone's arms. The same someone who now stood at the altar as the best man, his hand resting far too comfortably on my brother's shoulder. They thought I didn't know. They thought the papers were signed, and that was the end. But then there was my father, his cold detachment during the split, his sudden warmth toward her, the way he always invited him over. Pieces clicked together in ways I didn't want them to. This wasn't betrayal in one layer, it was braided, a rope of lies pulling tight around my throat. I told no one, not even my daughter. I began quietly, a private investigator, paid in cash, unconnected to me by name. Phone records, bank statements, flight logs. The best man's number appeared too often in my wife's history. But more interesting was the set of hotel bookings. 2 names, 1 room, charged to a card linked not to him, but to my father's business account. I didn't rage, I didn't accuse, I documented. A second folder formed, financial transfers, all subtle, from my father to her in the months before the divorce. Loan repayments, the memos read, lies wearing polite suits. Then the photos came. The best man, my wife, my father, in the same restaurant, same table, same smiles. I printed everything, labeled it, dated it. The envelope was thick by the time the wedding day arrived. I slid it into my jacket pocket, knowing I wouldn't need to search for the right moment. Moments like these always made themselves. The broke little girl joke had barely left his lips when my father poured gasoline on it. The hall roared. My daughter cried. And the person who stood from the crowd wasn't a stranger. It was my investigator. Suit pressed, expression unreadable. He walked to me, placed a second envelope in my free hand, freshly printed photographs. Not just her and the best man, not just my father. The last image was my brother, in the same hotel suite, with her. It hit like a slow blade, deep, deliberate. The betrayal wasn't just old, it was still unfolding. I didn't speak immediately. I walked forward. My daughter stayed seated. The investigator placed a hand on her shoulder. I took the microphone from the best man without asking, looked at him, looked at my father, looked at my brother. Family is supposed to protect each other, I said. My voice didn't rise, it cut. Some families prefer to feed on their own. I opened the envelope, held each photograph high. First, my wife and the best man. Gasps. Second, my wife and my father. Silence. Third, my wife and my brother. The air left the room. I placed the mic on the table, walked past them without looking again. Their world was already burning. My work was done. Outside, the night air was cold and clean. Behind me, there would be shouting, denials, tears, the sound of reputations collapsing under their own weight. I didn't need to see it. I had no interest in whether they tore each other apart or pretended nothing happened. They had shown me who they were, and I had given them the mirror. I took my daughter's hand. Her grip was still tight, but her breathing had steadied. We walked to the car without a word. The wedding would go on without us. The truth would not. Some endings aren't loud. They're a door closing softly, and the sound of footsteps never returning.